Hi guys, I want to throw out a video to show anyone who's just starting on Ragnarok where you can get a lot of the resources you're going to need later on in the game. Now I'm going to take advantage of the fact that it is night time at the moment and quickly show you where Silica Pearls are. So as you can see here, I am at Viking Bay. That is one of the easiest places to find. It's one of the places it recommends you start. Now, if you follow the beach up from Viking Bay in this direction, and I do apologise, you are going to see a monstrosity of a tower in a second. So if you follow the beach up in this direction, so as you can see, if I've gone this way, over here where you see all of these rocks and these kind of shallow pools, this is a great place to go and get yourself some silica pearls. It is relatively safe. Because it's quite shallow water, you don't get a huge amount of sharks and mantas in there, and there's plenty of room for you to like go out and get the silica pearls and run back to shallow water. So as I go around here, as you should be able to see all those silica pearls in the water there. I'll go a little bit lower. Actually, no, I'll go a bit higher because there we go. As you see, there's absolutely tons of them in this water here, and over here, as you can see, this is actually quite shallow water here. This here would be able to be walked on. Let me just jump off here. So this here is very shallow water, and the first set of pearls really, that as you can see it right in those reeds right there, is where you can go and grab them. And there's plenty of room here for you to get back to the safety of the shallow water. As you see, I'm now actually in the shallow water there, and I've landed my bird in a bad place. So that's a place you could get your silica pearls if you just wanted them quite easily. Right, I am back at Viking Bay again, and the next place I'm going to show you is where you can get quite a lot of crystal in a relatively safe area. There are, depending on which part of this area you go to, there are Allosaurus sometimes on the way up, and on the other side there's sometimes Spinos and Rexes, but I mean the frequency of seeing them is quite low. The only other thing that's there is occasionally you'll find Theriznosauruses there, or tickle chickens, and they are, they're fairly easy to circumnavigate. Apart from that, maybe the occasional raptor or dilo. So we're at Viking Bay here, and if you're looking out from Viking Bay, you would want to go west along the coast here, or if you're looking into Viking Bay, you want to go that direction. So basically, you want to go away from that big castle that you see in the distance over there and that ice mountain, and what you're looking for is that series of cliffs that I'm looking at. We want to go to the other side of that. If you started in the jungle starting areas, which are another one of the recommended places, you will be quite near that obelisk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the point where you can see both of those. So I'm just following this beach up from where the Viking Bay is there, and as you can see, I'm a little bit along it. And what you'll see is this sort of very big outcrop here, and that is really what leads to it. So if we actually go up here, so if you want a bird maybe, this is how you'd find it. Is you go up here and you are looking for a river. So up there you can see there's a couple of archways in front of that house there. There's a couple of archways that you're going to see in a moment, and that's where you're looking for the crystal. So those archways there is what you want to head for, and as you can see there's these giant crystal deposits over here. If we come up here with an Anki, we get 600 to 700, maybe 800 if we've got a nice Anki. So this is a good place to go and get yourself some crystal, and there's quite a few of them around. And if you were coming from, say, the ground or from this direction of the obelisk, basically what you want to do is from that obelisk, you want to sort of keep going direction after you get past that series of rivers down there. So there's a series of rivers down there and a cave. You go past them and it will take you up here. And if we go down to tree level, you'll be able to see that there's actually a series of paths that come up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath the trees here. There we go. As you can see, you can get up. Where is the... I think it's on this side here. Here we go. If you follow this cliff along to the left, or you can go to the right to get it, but if you follow it along to the left, you'll see that there's quite often areas where you can just sort of go up here. Let me just eat one of those steaks. There we go. Should be able to see. It's going to be very bright. I do apologise. As you can see, there's this sort of area here, and you don't want to go over there. And then you're basically zigzagging back and forth across the cliffs. This area here, you can actually get up there if you've got a fairly big dino. Follow this all the way around. Actually want to keep going beyond that there. So it's a little bit of a journey to go on foot, but there isn't really that much that's dangerous around. I mean, you could quite easily say go up here with an iguanodon or something like that. And then once again, it kind of zigzags back on itself. There's a couple of raptors there. And then once you make your way up to those pillars, which is what you really want, or the archways, what you want to aim for, you're up on that plateau where everything is. And you see there's the Rizzo over there. Oh, it's a pretty one. Now, it's worth actually flying or going all the way around this area, because there's often ones on the back of these rocks as well. You see there's some here. And I don't know if there's any on the back of that one, but as you see, there's quite a few deposits here. Now, if you want to also get some more crystal, or you want to come from the other direction, the other side of this sort of cliff face, and I do apologise, it's going to get very bright. There we go. The other side of this cliff face is where you can find some more crystal. So if I go over here, this area here, you are looking for this massive tree right here. This massive tree is right next to a little river, and if you follow that in, as you can see in that waterfall, there's some more very big crystal deposits. Okay, should be a little bit less glare now. So if you follow that river from that big tree into here, there is quite a few crystal deposits right here. That's 1, 2, 3. Might be more in there. It's kind of hard to see. I don't really want to land on the Argy. Now, there is Spinos in this lake and the occasional Rex, so you do want to be careful. I mean, all these areas are up high, so obviously there is that risk that goes with getting these the more advanced materials. Okay, so the next place you can get loads of crystal. You can also get oil, and you can get organic polymer. Once again, we're here at Viking Bay, and over there would be the jungle starting areas. And what you're aiming for is this mountain up here. So I need to put on the fur armor. 1 second. There we go. Now, this isn't one of the areas on Ragnarok where you're going to be so cold that you can't actually sort of stay warm. Oh, not without, you know, a lot of things. So you can actually just go up here with fur armor. I would say, though, you do want a fair amount of fortitude, just like if you were to go to the north side of the island. You do want to be making sure you've got the ability to heat yourself up. But there's a fair amount of resources up here, so you could just like build yourself a campfire and take up a torch. Now, you do want to be careful up here, because there are quite a lot of nasty things, as you'd expect on top of a mountain. I wouldn't say this is probably the best place to actually, if you want to get the fur to get up here, I wouldn't say you really want to risk going up here and say killing mammoths and things like that. There's better places for you to get fur where you'd be safer. Now, you do get griffins up here, you get rexes, yitrana, that I can't pronounce those, the ones that spawn in the Carnos. You used to get an ice wyvern that spawned, but I don't know if they've stopped doing that on Ragnarok now. It used to be over the back there. There you go, there's one of those ones you want to be careful of, the ones that fear you. But there are lots of penguins around here. Let's see if I can see. Well, you can't see them, I think they're all dead. But the penguins usually spawn around these edges of this lake here. And you also get them inside the cave we're going to go to. Now, this cave is where you're going to find a lot of the deposits of oil. But there's a couple outside. There's one there, for example. So let's go inside this cave. And once we get in here, as you can see, there's absolutely tons of oil rocks in here that you could harvest. There is quite a lot of bears in here, but that's not too hard to deal with. And the crystal formations that you're looking for are those things right ahead of us. That's what the crystal looks like inside these caves. Now there's a couple around here, but what you can actually do is you can go up here and there's this little passageway with absolutely tons of them in here, as you can see. I don't know if this counts as a cave you wouldn't be able to fly in if the settings aren't on there, but you can easily get up here with a fairly decent creature. Now on the other side of this cave there is even more crystal deposits. As you can see, there's an entrance over there. See, there's more crystal deposits up here, and I think there's an entrance up the top. That little tunnel that we're in also leads up to the top. And there is somewhere else you can come and get crystal as well in here, but it is quite dangerous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure there's nothing around. Okay. This here leads into a cave, which I don't know if it counts as a dungeon, but there is loot and things like in there, and there is also very high level creatures. Now you need to break through here if you're going through on foot, and if you go across this water, you'll see there's quite a few deposits. And I think my bird might be on follow, so it should be interesting when we go out. There's quite a few deposits here, but you want to be careful when you go down here, because as you turn the corner you'll probably see absolutely tons of bears. Yep, there's one, and these are the uber high level ones. Well, that's 120. There's actually, I think they spawn up to 290 in there or something like that, but they don't generally come up here unless you've attacked one, so you should be fairly safe. Now you can get into this from the other side, and even if you can't fly in here, you can use... Oh, okay. You also find that the game will glitch out when you come to that waterfall. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because it counts as a dungeon or something, because I always find that when you're going in and out of dungeons, it does that. So you can actually, even if you couldn't fly in there, you could actually take a Thylacoleo. I don't know if that's pronounced right. There's another entrance to get in there. You can't get through that way with it, but as you see, there's an entrance to this part of the cave here and here. Obviously, there's that tunnel up there. And if you follow the mountain around, and that is is that an Alphacana or an Alpha Rex? That's an Alphacana, isn't it? Cool. Come back for him later. If you follow this mountain around here, you will see an entrance where you can go in. Let's have a look. There we go. So what you're looking for is that blue formation there. So if you just basically follow the snow up, and the minute the snow kind of gets to this point here where you can actually branch off and walk through the trees, that's what you're looking for. And this will take you down into this cave as well. If you ever wanted to go down into there, going to glitch out again. And there is sort of stuff to loot in there. So if need be, you can go in there on a flyer. I wouldn't recommend going in there without being very well prepared. Okay, the next place is where you can get a load of honey, which would be very useful if you're using herbivores, which I would say, I mean, that is a must, because there is so many sort of packs of Allosaurus on this map and things like that. I personally prefer to run around with something like the tickle chickens, or the Therizinosaurus. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Because they're herbivores, they've got the sweet vegetable cakes. You can survive a lot better with them. Okay, so as you can see, Viking Bay, that's where we went for the crystal. That's where we went for the other crystal. The other side of the bay, if you follow this hill up, you'll see there's that castle over there. Now that is the entrance to a dungeon, so you want to be careful going up there. But you see the formation of rocks ahead of us. That is where you get a lot of the giant beehives spawn. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fly over here. Now you do get packs of Allosaurus up here and Rexes, but there's usually so many of these big herbivores that they're usually occupied. And as you can see on these cliffs here right there is a giant beehive. There should be another one there. There we go, giant beehive. Over, as you can see, we've been farming them because we've made this little platform, and there's some up there. There's some over there. And you can either do the method of actually just taking out the beehives, or you can actually tame the queen bee and make your own beehive. All you need to do is attack the hive, and you either kill the bee, be prepared to get attacked by loads of bees. So kill the queen and be prepared to be attacked by a lot of bees, because she will drop a bag with loads of honey in it. Or you can actually wait for the queen bee to drop, and you can tame her with rare flowers. So, talking of rare flowers, there are two places you can get them. The first one is if you actually follow that beach along, you will see lots of patches of them along the beach that you can go and get. So that's a safe place to get them. But over here, if you go along there, and that is a really pretty Rex. Oh, I hope that's a high level. Sorry, just indulge me a second. It's 90, the max level is 150. No, not worth it. Okay. Over here, where this castle is, you'll see that there is a split in the cliffs ahead of us. And on the other side, you'll see where this brown area here is. That leads up to another gap in the cliffs. And this will lead to a place where there's absolutely tons of beaver dams. So let's go over there. Now, the plus side of this is once you're able to handle it, you will never have any need for cementing paste or even silica pearls, rare flowers, mushrooms, anything like that. You'll be able to just farm them all here. The bad side is actually being able to handle them the first time. Yeah, it's fairly brutal. In fact, I am not going to give it to the bird. I am going to put on riot gear because this is not going to go so great potentially. Right, okay, riot gear. So these two lakes that you see here, they have the regular sort of beaver dams on them. Let's have a look here. As you see, it's absolutely swarming with them here. Where's the regular beaver dams? There's usually some around. Oh, well, you know what the regular beaver dams look like. But you also have these giant ones here, which you can stand inside of or stand on the edge of and harvest. And these over here are also giant beaver dams. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how crazy these bastards spawn here. Apologise for the swearing. Right, okay. So, that guy is so going to attack me. If I just go, jump out of it, run away, and jump, and fly up a bit. As you can see, there's absolutely gabillions of them. So you want to make sure you have either the ability to run away quickly or deal with them. I don't know how she'll deal with these. She's not built for battle, this Archie. Yeah. She's doing alright. I mean, obviously, if you don't have something you can get up here on foot, I would say you probably want to take an Archie. And if need be, what you could do is just, you know, pick one up and get rid of them this way. Anyway, right, okay. So you got the regular beaver dams up there. There you go, there's one in the water that you can see. Those giant ones, these things are beaver dams. And if you go down here to this lake, there is even more over here. I don't think you get those proper dams that go across the river up here. I've never seen them, but you do get these giant ones here. And there's absolutely tons of stuff here. So those beaver dams will enable you to get low cementing paste, but obviously you'll get rare flowers, you will get rare mushrooms, and you'll get silica pearls. So, you know, it saves you having to potentially go to the swamp if you're not quite ready to do that. Okay guys, so the final area that I want to show you is somewhere that you can actually go and farm oil without having to go into those dangerous areas. So, say for example, you first got your generator and you didn't say have the fur armor to go up there. You could actually go to this area with a bird like an RG, or you could potentially walk there. You could literally just chomp these things and you will get oil from them. What there will be is washed up Basilosauruses on the beach, and because they generate oil, you'll be able to get some oil from them. So as you can see, that is Viking Bay over there. Over there is the castle, so that's where all of that stuff was that we've been to just now. Over there is the ice mountain. So what you're doing is you're going east along the coast this time. Just open up the map so you can see. So we're going east along the top there. And where we're going for is that green area on the far east of the map. So if you follow the Viking Bay cliffs and beach around this direction here that we're going. Now it's fairly safe down there. You might get the occasional nasty thing drop on you. And you want to go past all of those rock formations there. Now what you can see ahead of us is you can actually walk along those sort of more brown looking areas of the water because that's the shallow water. There's even more beaches there. And what you want to do is follow that round until you can see the volcano. Now you can actually walk along the edge of the cliff, and I'll show you where you can do that. So once you got to this point here where the sort of shallow water seems to run out, that little bit of cliff there looks like it's really deep. You can actually walk along it without a problem. So there is a shark in there, but you could actually walk along without too much of a problem. And what you're aiming for is that area that I'm looking ahead at. I'm sorry it's so bright. As you can see, it's just past that volcano. Now, the limiting factor on this, if you were going on foot, is that volcano, and there are gigas where you're going. I mean, obviously, there's not like a billion gigas, but this area that we're going to is Scotland or the Highlands, and that is where the gigas spawn and the titanosaurs. So you want to be careful if you're going there on foot, which is why I recommend going on a bird. Also, it is easier if you don't feel safe going over to the volcano. The reason a volcano is dangerous is there are wyverns there, but there's also pretty much all of the nasties you wouldn't really want to encounter. For example, there are rexes, but there's also mantises, there are spiders, there are those leech things that do your armor in when they attack your creature. There's titan boas. I don't know what else there is up there, but yeah, it's not a nice place to go on foot unless you're supremely confident. But you also want to be careful of wyverns as well. So you want to give them a wide berth because even if you're flying, they can catch you up. But the cool thing is as you can see, there's all these little rock outcrops that actually allow you to really skirt around this. I think this is really well designed. Because it means you have to go further to get these resources. But I mean, you could do this on a pteranodon. I have done it on a pteranodon, no problem before. On the note of the mantises though, I don't know if you don't know this, is that if you can kill the mantises and harvest them, you actually get an absolute ton of organic polymer. Which is, I mean, that is our go-to place for actually getting polymer because you can get it so quickly. Okay, so where the wyverns spawn is, so you know where to sort of give them a wide berth, is up there. As you can see, there's those formations of rocks like that. Now, you can't really see it, but on the up the top there, so there's a cavern. Oh, that's in the way. A cavern that goes through there and then goes up there. So it follows the line of that green area there and those trees. So I'll just do this. So as you can see, essentially right there, at the intersection of the three different biomes, you will see that there's absolutely tons of wyverns inside a sort of like cavern valley sort of area, a gorge. So that's kind of where you want to steer clear of, and they will basically outrun everything, I think, so you won't be able to get away. You could get away on a griffin because you can do the speed thing, but don't go near there if you're going to be on an RG or a Quetzal because they will kill the crap out of you. The area that you're looking for these dead Basilosauruses is they start to spawn once you start getting to the yellow sand on this beach. So the closest place I've ever seen them is literally the minute that these black rocks stop here. So once you get past these, you will see them starting to spawn. So I'm going to follow this beach along and we should see some of them on here. Right, so just keep following this beach along, and they spawn basically all the way along this beach, even when you get to the rocks at the end. Okay, so here's a couple here. Actually, it's up there where I tamed my giga. So these things are what you're looking for, and you can actually harvest them, which is the cool thing I like about this, is you just fly up to them and nom 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 nom. As you see, I've got 29 oil out of that. Let's nom this one. $27 oil. So there you go, 56 oil. And there was a lot of spoiled meat in there, and I hadn't been giving my bird food. Probably should go and do that. And there's usually, I mean, usually when I go along here, anywhere between 5 and 8 of them. Now this is Giga country, so do be careful. Which is another reason why I would say take a bird. But they spawn all the way along this area here. There's another one down there. So if you keep following this beach, you will find multiple of them. So that's 3 so far. Now this is the area where you kind of need to start worrying for gigas. Back there, the gigas don't tend to be on the beach, but you do quite often see gigas down on the beach on this area. I think their spawn point is basically up there because there's a cave there and a little sort of waterfall, and I almost always see them within fairly close proximity of that. Yep, there's a giga right there. What was it? It's level 20, okay. As you see, there's another dead one there. I'm not going to risk getting that, if you don't mind. So that's 4 I've seen so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, Persephone is an absolute badass. She could take that giga, but it's just because I'm on this video, you know, I don't really want to waste the time. I mean, all 30 seconds that it would take for her to drop that giga. It's still, that's just too much time, you know. Hashtag deluded. So those dead creatures do actually spawn even on this bit here on the rocks. But I don't tend to see many past that rock formation that we're seeing there. So once you've got to the lighthouse, don't necessarily be expecting them. But as you can see, even just 3 of them or a couple of them would give you enough to run a generator for a little while. Right guys, so I've been babbling on for quite a while there. You probably don't need to see me going all the way along the beach. You've seen what those things are. I hope you guys found this useful, and I hope it helps you getting started on Ragnarok so that you can get the resources you need without too much frustration. Hope you guys have fun. Catch you all soon.